10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I just want to start off by saying we love everybody born in the 1980s and 90s. And though connected to their mobile device and dangerous behind the wheel, they still serve a purpose in life. But in all seriousness, I want to say that this is actually one of the most delightful, refreshing conferences that I've been at. Most of these is vendor after vendor kind of spewing what they do and, you know, basically asking you to work with them. So it's really good to hear it from the other side and your point of view and some of the challenges and best practices that you're doing and what you're seeing in the industry right now. So we've pulled an audible. We're totally ditching the sales pitch, and we're not going to bore you with, a list of our products and why you should work with us. What we want to do, from what we've heard, there's a lot of common themes today: innovation, data, creativity. We'll give you a brief introduction into Liquid, but also take some real-life experiences of how we've worked with agencies in the past and made our data pretty actionable for those clients.
Yeah, we had our presentation set up similar to the Prestige Worldwide Investor presentation. If any of you know that, but we ditched it. But yeah, so Liquid is a first-party audience solutions company. We actually leverage first-party profile data from Publishers Clearinghouse, who owns Liquid. A lot of people may not even know who Publishers Clearinghouse is, or PCH as it's better known today. But it's actually a company that's been collecting data for about the past 60 years. They were kind of doing big data before big data became cool. We're going to talk a little bit about what data means to us and kind of the granularity of how deep our data goes and how we apply that and make it actionable. But basically, Liquid takes the data from PCH and then packages it up in unique ways that we can target consumers on behalf of the different brands and agencies we work with across digital, which could be desktop, mobile, social. Now you're seeing a lot of video, native, et cetera. So basically taking these first-party user profiles, creating custom audience segments, and then running digital campaigns with our partners to go target those consumers to do a number of different things, whether it's just engagement, branding or awareness. It could be user acquisition for mobile. We're doing a lot of things in mobile right now around mobile acquisition. So that's kind of the highlight of what Liquid is. We're going to share a couple of examples of how we've worked and to leverage that data and how it's actually been applied and actually some of the results that we've gotten from it as well.
Yeah, and I think Adam Price from Dell said it best yesterday. He was specifically talking about what makes a good social media strategist, but data analysis plus creativity really equals the output. If you're thinking about data, and it's such a blanketed, word that can mean possibly everything, you want to, apply creativity and application to that data to make it, executable and actionable. So we were working with a client who, is a weight loss brand. And again, if you strip away everything from Liquid and Publishers Clearinghouse, at the end of the day, we're a publisher. We know our users and our consumers on the back end of the publishing aspect very well, as you as agencies and advertisers know your brand consumers very well. So what we really strive to do is marry those two together and find that sweet spot. So like I said, we were working with a weight loss brand, and they were trying to target a very specific person in their funnel of, subscription, how many times they checked in, things like that. And we could probably all think of the stereotype of, who's gonna be one of the consumers on a weight loss brand. Maybe it's a woman, she's probably 35 to 55. That's really not being innovative and out of the box thinking. It's something that we would all just kind of come up with. So we asked the agency and we asked, the advertiser specifically, what is it about this? Do you know anything more about this user or this consumer that you can tell us where we can really refine that data segment? And they said, this is kind of strange, but this person actually we found is, highly indexed as a cat parent. So this user, is a cat parent, and we found that, most people that reach this level in this weight loss program also own a cat. So we go back to our team, right, where we have tons of data, and we can use that kind of creative thinking to drill down. And sure, we had a pet lover segment, but then we drill down even further to cat lovers, and then purchasing specific products and magazine subscriptions through Publishers Clearinghouse that specifically determine them as a cat parent. So using that data segment along with some of the ones that you would probably think are more common, maybe women, maybe a certain age group, certain demographic, really, we saw a lift and we saw a lot of success in that example. So I think it's really about being collaborative and creating, as Vishal said, that, transparency with your client to find the best way possible to get lifts in your certain campaigns.
Yeah, and one more example is I work closely with a major retailer. They wanted to do a mobile acquisition program through Facebook as well as through some mobile exchanges. They had a new e-commerce app coming out. They actually have, about 2 or 3 million credit card users that actually have a credit card with their brand that they actually buy, the products at their store. So that data, would seem to work pretty well in terms of a targeting perspective. So we actually leverage that data to run the campaign across Facebook and again the exchanges. We also created about 12 to 15 other first-party segments based on our data. And when we launched the campaign, it was interesting because their first-party data was performing really well. We were able to kind of do some, optimizations based on the first-party data that we have. And our first-party segments actually ended up outperforming some of their own first-party data that they were giving us. So it's kind of an interesting example of always leveraging the data that you have access to really test, optimize, and to kind of, again, like Jess said, think outside the box creatively around, some of these segments that you may not have really thought about from the front end, but during the duration of the campaign, really coming up with ways to optimize against that data down into the granular level to make it work for your campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, one thing too is just, Darin uses this example a lot, but media is not hard to find. It's very easy to find. It's the application of data, or whether that data is location or certain behavioral or segments, as Nicole mentioned earlier, that really defines, and we can get granular, and that's what we're looking for as new technology emerges, right? People are doing different behaviors on their mobile device versus their desktop versus how they, view TV commercials. So it's really about, providing unique media solutions with a multilateral data approach. So finding that user in multiple places, but also finding the fact that they're multifaceted as a consumer. They're not necessarily just a cat parent. They are this too, and they're this too, and they want to lose weight.
And one last thing I'll touch on is just the importance of scale. So we have about 30 million first-party user profiles that are within the last 24 months of activity. We also have single sign-on registration through the PCH kind of process in terms of their user flow. They have a lot of mobile games. They have a lot of mobile apps they've launched. But being able to scale that in ways that's important. So we do work with other third-party partners like a Datalogix or Oracle or BlueKai, et cetera, to really find these really strong pockets of audience segments, and then work with other partners to actually amplify that so we can go and scale and make the campaign scalable for the agency and brand as well. I think we're running up on time, but
yeah, we wanted to open it up for a few questions since we didn't really go through the gamut of what a vendor would typically do. And as Gabriel mentioned earlier, we're a big fan of Liquid and Learns. Again, sort of creating that, and that just means going out and getting drinks and talking about what we're all doing here. So we're available for that. But if you guys have any questions that you would think would be specific to any campaigns that you're working on, where data and just the cultivation of that data would be applicable, let us know.
Any questions? There's about a minute and a half left for questions. Couldn't tell if that was a hand. That's a hand.
Uh-oh.
Publisher Clearinghouse is kind of an older brand in my mind, so can you explain how that applies to, say, people 18 to 24 who like candy?
Yeah, sure. Sure. So, like I said, we didn't really want to go through the list of products, but we have made some strategic acquisitions over the past year or so, which are applying the same methodologies that PCH stands for, right? It's a sweepstakes-based experience where users are inputting data that's highly accurate because there's an element to win on the back end. So a few things that we're doing, creating certain applications, reaching, different audiences through, a TV, online video consumption channel is a way that we're reaching a younger demographic at this point in time. But again, it kind of ties into the greater organization because it's all sweepstakes, element based. And
yeah, and PCH has actually acquired, like as Jess said, a number of companies. One is called Live to Win, which is very millennial focused in terms of they have I think 8 or 9 different mobile games, mobile apps that are definitely targeted towards that 18 to 24 age group, and it's driving, and we're actually leveraging our own channels as a publisher to drive acquisition for those properties. So we're constantly cultivating and curating new data, and that younger audience is definitely a key component of that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, too, millennials are not the only one buying things. So, you know, I know it's such a big focus for everyone, and, you know, we definitely have taken that approach where we've put, you know, time and investment into capturing that. But right now we have a very actionable audience that does, you know, index 25 plus, that they do hold the purse strings, right? They're the ones.
Yeah, and one last thing that I think I failed to mention, or I failed, Jess, I'm sorry, is actually PCH sells nearly $1 billion worth of e-commerce products a year through their own channel, and they don't have an e-commerce site where people go and select women, jewelry, watches, you know, Rolex or Tag, or they don't sell tags, but they sell like other watches. They actually put those products, they use their own first-party data, that when someone's engaging with PCH content on one of their publishing sites, they actually give them an opportunity to buy it. And so it's really a recommendation engine. So we have I think we have 30,000 SKUs. So there may be SKUs that PCH sells through that $1 billion, you know, e-commerce channel that would relate well to an 18 to 24-year-old person who likes candy.
Great, that's.
So we're over. I'm sorry
That's
about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That was great. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Big hand for our sponsor.